Test taking tips in archaeology. So I actually just got finished giving a test to one of my classes earlier today. And as I was giving it, I was shouting out, like I always do, a couple tips here and there. And actually a couple students asked me some stuff, some real common questions about tests while they're taking it, right? And I actually wrote some stuff down, like on the fly. And I thought, hey, I just kind of make a quick video about it. Just some tips on what to do in the college test-taking environment. Things that I find help. I got a little script I made for myself. I know, it's rare for me. Okay, test-taking tip number 1. Focus on specifics. What I mean by that, if it's an essay portion on the test, you got to write something down, right? Specifics are your friend. It is the key to the whole thing. So much of college test taking, underneath it all, it's like showing your knowledge of key terms, showing your knowledge of key concepts. So it really is, you know it or you don't. So know it. As an example, somebody who knows no specifics, if you got to write about King Tut, they'll be like, King Tut was a mighty king, and he had a queen because he was a king, and his name was Tut. And he was a king called Tut. And one day he died. And then somebody else became the king. And then one day he was found. And they called him King Tut. You see how I said nothing? That kind of stuff, dude. That's the wrong example. The right example is it's all about specifics. Oh, King Tut, New Kingdom, 18th Dynasty. His wife, Ankhesenamun, died at 18, sickly, found by Howard Carter and Lord Carnarvon in 1922, 10-year excavation. You see, I can just go on and on and on and on. These are all specifics, right? Specifics are great. Specifics show that you know the material. Make sure you get the specifics down. Sometimes I see students who, they know the specifics, but they somehow just don't put it down. They feel too, like it's too much or something. It's not. That brings me on to the next thing. Hey, Kinkella, how much do I write down? When in doubt, more rather than less. What I mean by that is it goes back to the specifics. If you know specifics, get them down. Don't think like, oh, I've written too much already, I've got to stop. Or, oh, how much do I do? Is it 3 paragraphs or 4? Professors don't care about paragraph number or this kind of thing. Specifics, specific data points. Get that down. So the how long to write until you are exhausted with the information you have. When in doubt, get it out. Show me your knowledge, right? Let's go for another one. Number 3, don't change your answer. This is especially true with Scantron stuff. That little voice in your head, that first feeling of what the answer is, almost always right. 95% of the time right. What happens is you put that down. And then when you're kind of re-going over your Scantron, you're like, well, maybe in a parallel universe, he meant this. I didn't mean that. Go with your gut. Do not erase. I am not kidding with you guys when I say 9 times out of 10, the erasure marks, the students erase to the wrong answer. They've erased the right one. Happens all the time. Just don't erase. Even if you have a rule with yourself, I will never erase. You're better off. Percentage-wise, you are. What else do we got? Oh, I wrote down outline in margin. So what that means is if you have a written portion, an essay portion, you want to at least have some sort of outline for yourself before you get started. And if that means just writing in the margin, little notes to yourself, little tiny thing in the margin, just so you know what you're doing, great. College professors don't get pissed when they see little scribbles in the margin. I get that. I'm happy when I see that. I'm like, oh yeah, they did a little outline for themselves. It takes like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So much better to do that than just to blindly charge forward and be like, I'm just going to write now. It's like, take a moment, outline for yourself, go based on your outline. It'll be just so much better. I would go off with that, I guess, number 4, have good printing. Good printing is so key. If you're like, oh, my printing sucks, make it good. Right? And I'm telling you, subconsciously, professors are people too. Subconsciously, when I see better printing, it gets a better grade. I try to be conscious about that. But still, and even if you have really crappy printing, but even if you have really good content, it'll angle you down a little. Good printing, yo. What are we up to? 5? Oh, watch this. Use a number 2 pencil. Just make sure you have a regular pencil with you. Why not bring a pencil and a pen? I usually have my students use the pencil for the Scantron, pen for the written stuff. But just make sure you have a number 2 pencil or regular pencil. Doesn't have to say 2 on it. It's regular, it'll work. A flat Scantron. Here's one. What are we up to? Number 6 or whatever? Doesn't matter anymore. A flat Scantron. What I mean by that is if you have a crumply Scantron, especially if it's crumply on the edges, it won't run well. Behind the scenes, the professor's sitting there like, ugh, like trying to get your Scantron to run. So Scantrons will get crumply if you leave them in a book that's too short for the Scantron and the top gets all messed up. Try and leave your Scantrons inside your notebook where they lay flat. It doubly matters for the edges. Flat Scantron. Don't look around when you're taking your test. Hey, I just need to stretch as I look at everyone's notes on their final. Don't do that. I do understand, we all do, college professoring. If you got to look up and kind of look out for a moment and just kind of relax your eyes, relax your psyche, that's fine. That's fine. But look up and out. Have your eyes relax out. Don't make me nervous, man. Don't look at other students. Don't sign to other students or whatever. Just don't make me nervous. Obviously, don't cheat, because we'll ruin your career if you cheat. We'll just do it. I've done it to several people over the years. I sleep like a baby. Don't cheat. Hey, Kinkella. So what about trick questions? College professors don't give trick questions. What happens is sometimes we'll see something a certain way that seems perfectly easy in my brain, but you'll read it a slightly different way. And it's a communication issue. Sometimes trick questions. They don't mean to be trick, but you might read it a separate way. If you text somebody sometimes and it seems like you're saying something that's really neutral and they take it the wrong way, and you're like, oh, dude, I didn't mean it that way. That's how trick questions come about. And so they're not really trick. They're misread questions, and we as college professors always try not to do that. But it's always it's always something that we have to work on. It's difficult. You try. Come up with 10 questions. 10 true-false multiple-choice questions. See how they read. It's tough. There's an art to it. So realize that we're never trying to trick you. We're not trying to do it. We're trying to kind of give you a question that has very obvious information in it, and sometimes the information is obvious to us and not to you. Or there's a vice versa aspect to it too. Sometimes it's your problem, if that makes sense. Like you do need to read that the right way. But long story short, there's no real such thing. We don't try and do that. That's pretty good. That's what I got. In terms of test taking tips, here's one off the top of my head. Use your time. If you have an hour for the test, use the whole hour. Use most of it. Don't be the Flash and be like 25 minutes and I'm done. I know that some of you have a need to do that. and it's kind of whatever works for you. But realize on my side, I'm happy if students take all the time. I'm not there being like, you need to get the hell out of here, right? I like it when I see students working and taking time. When the first person, when they finish super early and give me their test, I'm freaked out. I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? You good on this? You ready? You good to go? We have more time, right? So use that time, sort of stretch out and use the time wisely. There you go. Happy test taking.